I'd like to kick off the certification track of the Certification Saturday of the Power Community, which I thank for having me, especially Julian. And let's start the first track about Microsoft certification, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And yeah, everything you want to know about cloud computing and so on, that's me. That's Rolf McLaughlin. I'm your first speaker today. I happen to be the director of the Cloud 42, as well as a Microsoft certified trainer for more than 25 years. Microsoft Certified Trainer Regional Lead is a small group of trainers who try to be the ambassadors for the trainers out there in the world towards worldwide learning. Sorry. As well as a cloud solution architect. So I worked for Microsoft in this capacity, and I'm actually doing this for customers outside in the world. I did write some articles, some books. I happen to have been a PowerShell MVP, and I'm based in Ireland, so a little bit west of Dublin. And my focus is Azure applications, infrastructure, security, and stuff like that. But enough about me. Let's talk about certifications and what you can expect about certification, and in this session especially, and of course, what not. So I would like to point you to some sources, some website, everything around certification, which one is the right one for me, and where do I really start? And of course, we want to make you a hero. And every hero starts with the first steps, and that's the first certification also. And this session here is intended to give you some guidance to get there through the whole Saturday with the whole certification track. All the other speakers will also focus on this topic, but maybe on one product, on one certification, etc., stuff like that. This is a very generic product, unspecific. Of course, I have focused on Azure just as my example, but still that is the main ideas I want to bring across. So what I do not want to talk about and will never talk about is something like this, answering questions in the quality. Dear community, please solve my issues. Very often you see on your famous whatever community web pages, somebody posts a question and expects the community to answer that. Or you can really see that the question is taken from a sample exam and stuff like that. And also from the way they're posting the questions is like they have not put any effort into understanding the topic, stuff like that. Definitely also not. As well as sharing material to pass my exam. Yeah, no, not going to happen. With me at least. Some others out there do that stuff, especially if they're certified trainers and so on. And that is no, that's not my topic. And so also point to some websites that claim to be the ultimate study guide, and you just pay them some money, and they will guarantee that you will pass. The latest and greatest thing of this quality that I have heard is they guarantee that you pass because they sit somebody taking your exam. I don't know how they're doing. I don't want to know how they're doing it, but that's definitely not going to be topic of this session. Having said that. Let's get into it, and let's try with the definition, certification, good, bad, ugly. Everybody is a unique person, and therefore everybody probably has their own understanding what a good, a bad, and an ugly is. And in order that we have a common understanding in this session, let's try a definition. Now, my way of doing that is going to my preferred finding machine and just type in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you do that, you will find something like that. Famous movie for the older ones, 1966, a Western genre, and yeah, that is branded. So I cannot really take that because that's copyrighted. Even if you go for a comic style or stuff like that, it's all copyrighted. So no way that we can do that. Let's try this one here. The good, yay. The bad, the ugly. But religion, blood, also not so good. People don't like that. They can get easily offended. So stay away from this kind of definitions. My proposal is let's try this way. We have a good thing here, a white blood body here, a bad thing, and you know the right one here by now. And I have asked FDA, and they approved me to say this is the good, this is the bad, and this is the ugly. So whenever you see these icons, they are disclaiming Rolf thinks that this is a good thing, and I have a little bit of a color code here. So if you see them in their true colors, then this is meant that they're highlighted here. But as I said before, everybody is an individual, is a person. You can come to a different opinion. Now let's start with some good stuff. IT skills. It is all about IT skills, and Microsoft has put together one website that I have highlighted here, Microsoft.com, in your preferred language. If you omit that, they will guide you to the ones that are preferred for your learning, and then there is an exam list. And you can filter the exams by technology and drill down into that one. That's the old style that is still available, very product oriented. But as you may have heard before or have seen before on some web pages, it is not only about products, it is about roles. So we are talking about role-based certification, and the role-based certifications are more the exam and data and M365 and so on and so on. And these are the all certification exams that you see here on the lower left. They are role-based certification. Now, what is a role? Microsoft went several years ago through a huge effort and analyzed all of the job adverts that are available in the open. So all the portals, like you name it, you have it, including LinkedIn. So where companies put a job offering out, say, hey, we want to hire a Power Platform architect, something like that, or we want to have an Azure administrator. And then they list the skills, the expectations, what these people need to know. Long story short, they did it across the whole platform, starting with Azure, and baked it into certifications, moving away from you need to know a Windows server, you need to know a SQL server, and you need to know a XYZ product quality. That is the approach that happened a long time ago, and this is what we have today. And in this exam list, you will find a few of the product specifics, but more role-specific certifications. If your role that you're actually executing in your job, or the role that you want to go for, is not exactly overlapping with their definition, that is unfortunate, but still there may be enough nuggets in that one certification to bring you closer to your goal. So these role-based certifications, they aim not for technology. The job task analysis, that's the stuff where they spoke to a lot of people and gathered all the job things. These are the elements behind the roles that you see today. And you see on the lower left in the hyperlink here, it started in 2014, so quite a while ago, and is already pretty mature. Some say that's a good thing because it is more generic towards shaping the roles, but some people also say that it's a bad thing because they only need the product specific. No, they only need to know their Windows server or their database or their X, Y, Z, whatever. So this is a little bit biased, and some people say this way, some people say that way. It depends on you and your own level that you want to have that. But it has become an industry standard for certificates. It's not only Microsoft doing it, the other cloud providers and other companies that are offering their products are going down the same route. It has become an industry standard. Now, what we have with the Microsoft components here is that the Microsoft certification as such is a recognized name. So your Microsoft Certified X is something that an HR person or even somebody who is not 100% in IT, they have a chance that they have heard that, and it goes back a long, long time. Is we the trainers know it's nearly 3 decades of Microsoft Certified X. And it proves a competency in a certain area, an area that this certification covers. because it's not only the exam, it is a certification that you have proven that you know what is in that area. It is only for the current and emerging technologies. It is not for the old technologies. Certification tests are taken off the grid. So they are not able to, for example, go ahead and take a Windows 95 exam anymore, or Windows for Workgroups or stuff like that. They mature out because this technology is not used in the world anymore. But they set a standard. They set a standard. They give you a knowledge level, and this knowledge level is what the people out there are looking for. There's a cost involved with that, but luckily it is cheaper than many others out there in the world. What we have identified so far, Microsoft is constantly pushing the ball here in the right corner, is that there are levels called fundamentals, associate, and the experts. And there is a little bit of a gap in the knowledge between the fundamentals, and all of the fundamentals knowledge is available for free, and you can just pick it up and do it by yourself. And the next level, the associate level, there's a gap between this, and there's a not really 100% fuse on all of the areas. There is no user level cloud exam, how to use Excel, how to use it, and so on and so on. That's not in there. Multiple choice questions, some of them can be just guessed by a little bit of knowledge in the product, and you just, yeah, I can do that. If you have a lot of certifications, you're also, of course, accumulating a lot of cost. And that is up to you to decide whether that is something that brings you forward in your career, in your life, in whatever you're doing. Because I personally say you learn for yourself. You learn for yourself to get a better person in your role that you're striving for or that you're having. You're not learning for the company. And especially if you're leaving the company, you take the certification with you. It's your personal certification. Now let's go after this good and bad and ugly decision things here. Let's move forward. And now I have decided I want to go for a special certification. Guess what? You really have to learn now. Damn it. And this is why you came to this course, to this Saturday certification course, and said, I just get it like magic. No, you don't. You really have to go and dig into it, understand what the learning objectives are. Learning objectives are groups of knowledge combined, like all about the identities when it comes to Azure Active Directory, all about the Power Platform when it comes to the various information presentation style, and so on. So you need to grasp what the concepts are, and I will show you some of the learning objectives later, or where and how you can find them. And then the studying. You need to learn for that. You need to learn on the theoretical part, and ideally you have a chance to also work on the practical part and practice what you have learned. So absorbing information, you may have seen this person here is not just staring blankly at the notes, is wrapping your brain around that and understand what is behind that. So skills measured. These are learning objectives. In this example, we have the learning objectives of AZ-104, which aims for the Azure Administrator. And we're talking about identities and governance. Implement and manage storage, Azure storage. Deploy, manage compute resources, and so on and so on. In your certification test and between the objectives, there's some percentages given to you. And they vary. They vary for each of the exams, and they vary also from exam version from 2020 and the next version 2021 and so on. So there is always a slight shift in this one, and they can even get more objective domains or less objectives here. And that actually means from the from the amount of questions that you get, a certain percentage is covering, for example, here 25-30% Azure Compute, or 30 to 35 is going to manage virtual networking. In my book, that means I would focus to learn a lot about these big chunks and make sure I have covered this basis, and then go for the next lower percentages, which would be identities governance, to grab as much land as possible. And if time permits, cover the storage and the monitor backup. And then I have a area where I am fit in, but I do not expect many questions out of that. So that's the basic principle, how to understand the objectives, the learning objectives, and how to read their skills measured pages here. There are some resources available to help you going through your learning procedure. So through your studying, the practice part also, and that is a self-assessment tool. There is on build59s.com. We have some MVPs that I happen to work together with, and they have tossed out some exams in the quality Excel sheet, and then you have an assessment overview, and you just open the drop downs and say, hey, I'm very confident, or I don't know anything about it, or meh, a little bit in the middle somewhere. And the self-assessment tools help you to keep track of your learning, that you have covered all your bases. And having said that, there is some more work to do. There is some more work to do. That means you have to allocate some time. You have to put some time together. Now, everybody, I may have mentioned that before, is an individual and has this individual style of learning. Some like to allocate whole weeks, and they lock themselves out of the world and they just knuckle down and learn, and tick off their self-assessment, and then they go to the webpage and then they do the practicing. Really, I admire these kind of people, but it's their style. So allocating whole weeks. Some have a different approach in the days, learning 1 day a week and just set that aside. If their job and their family and whatever other reasons they have is allowing this schedule, perfect. And of course, last but not least, a slot daily learning time. That brings us to the question, how much time do you really need? And I'm a long year consultant, and this is ingrained into me, this answer to how much time do I need to allocate? And the perfect answer for that is, it depends. It depends on your own starting point in knowledge. It depends on your own pace that you have. It depends how much time you can invest into learning and how much time you need to memorize some of the practice materials. Like I always call it muscle memory. If you are asked to, how many, you have got to do 4 steps to do task X, please bring these steps in the right order. This calls for some kind of muscle memory, like step 1, configure this. Step 2, create this. Oh, wait a moment. Create first and then configure, and so on. So this needs to be ingrained into your muscle memory, and this is a very personal learning quality again. And this is why we need the practice know-how to be able to answer this quality of questions. Are there, and I can anticipate the questions at the moment, are there any labs, are there any practice parts in the certification test as of today? And the answer is not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge means that I have not, of course, taken all of the exams, and there are chances that the labs are coming back. At the moment, I have not heard of any lab that has practice tests. By the way, what is a practice test? Imagine you are in your certification test, started, clock is ticking, and you get question number 2, blah, 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 number 5, la, 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 and out of a sudden they say, okay, now you have done the majority of your questions. Let's start a machine for you, a lab for you, and you're tasked. You're tasked with, please achieve this, please do that. And you're getting a virtual machine, you're getting a portal launched, you're getting a user account inside that portal to log in, and they ask you to do a certain thing. And then once you're done, you say, yep, my lab is done, and you end the lab. And in the background, with some Azure magic and some other magic, your results are collected and added to your total. This is what is not happening at the moment. Do they come back? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but I think there will be some announcement around when they come back. And the MCTs and stuff like Julian, is it equivalent to component-based testing? Uh, uh, um, Component-based testing. I don't think that is. I see the chat window here on the right side. I have not heard the term component-based testing myself. It's a practice part inside of this. What was the term again that they used for that? Yeah, it's just a practical part inside a lab that can happen in the near or far future. But for the time being, I would focus on learning the material and being able to answer multiple questions and stuff like that, multiple choice or drag and drop, or I will come to that in a moment. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for the question. So allocate time, and then it is practice, practice, practice. The tools to use: the Azure portals, Office portals, Cloud Shell, PowerShell, Bash, Visual Studio Code, other portals, you name it, you have it. There is a myriad of tools out there, and you need to have the chance to get your feet wet with the doings. With the doings also means that you sometimes need to put some money on the table to have access to this tool. There are free accounts available, for example, for Azure, but they're not unlimited. Some of the practice test parts in the Microsoft Learn portal, they launch a lab for you in the background, and you can use that. They're also limited, but there are free capacities in there for you to learn your stuff. But unfortunately, there are areas where you just have to invest into your future. Maybe you have a job role that allows you to go to a manager or somebody who has got the money and says, "Yeah, I'd like to do this certification because it brings me into the position to do the job better, more efficiently, and with less errors and stuff like that." Oh, maybe you don't want to say that you made errors before. Yeah, good point. Anyway, you want to make sure that somebody is putting the money on the table, and yeah, that's probably in many books the ugly part, that you have to invest into this one. And then it is try. You may even fail. When I say try, I mean you go to the certification. You do sit the certification test and try to pass. There are some dummy tests out there for people to see how that works and get the whole mechanics in a way. But that's not what I mean. What I mean is really sign up for the certification test and be ready to fail. And if you fail, guess what? Try again as many times as you need to get to the success stage. And that's the painful part. The painful part because it could be very disheartening that, like, oh my God, I failed again, and you feel like rubbish, and you just say, you're not worthy. No, you are. You learned from every fail because you get a result that says, hey, you were in this objective domains 4 out of 5. You were great. You were beyond the pass grade. There's just one area that you need to learn a little bit more, and then you can focus on that area to learn. Unfortunately, these try again things are not for free. Sometimes you have a second shot approach, like Microsoft calls that, where you book an exam, and if you fail, you can retake the exam for free. That is a special motion that pops up once in a while, and if there is something like that, even better for you, then you can easy fail and without any additional investment try again, and then you can make the step to success. But that's the hard part, the part where many people say, yeah, okay, I don't like failures. But failures here help you because they tell you where your weak learning spots were. Oh, did I mention that so far was the easy part? You still have to do the certification. You really have to still do the certification. That means before the certification test itself, if you never have done one, you need to have a Microsoft account, so-called MSA. So Outlook.com, Hotmail, you name it, you have it. This is to tie you with a certification profile. And with this login into the Microsoft certification pages, you have a chance to look up your recent certifications. You can download your badges or your transcript and stuff like that. There is also the necessity to register with Pearson VUE. Oh, still there's some parentheses missing. The closing one. Probably I need to close this. So we this Pearson VUE is one of the testing providers that Microsoft has engaged to give you the chance to take the test. In order to register for the test, you need to have two things. You need to have a picture ID, and the payment, it requires a credit card. You cannot go with a check or direct debit or something like that. You need a credit card. And the picture ID needs to be a valid one that's really showing you. Having said that, you decide on date and time, and you can decide to take the test remote, means in your own office or in a office, no, in a room. And then the test centers, there's also test centers available, but they may include a long commute, so that's probably not the best for everyone. Luckily, remote computing is up on Vogue now, so there is a chance that you can take the test quite easy. What is also possible, and you started your journey here today by taking part in the certification Saturday, is take part in a learning group, or if there is none, go to any social media and create one or find one. Online or in real life, if that is allowed in the antivirus, social distancing, and so on and so on. Study guides. Some study guides are out there, official study guides that do not give you the answers, but help you to find the sources for the learning objectives. How do I create a user in Azure Active Directory? How do I assign a license in Office 365? And so on. So these detail things, there are some walkthroughs, and you have to use your finding machine of choice to find them for your specific topic. Microsoft Docs. Microsoft Docs is definitely your first stop when it comes to the study material, but there are some out there, an additional study material that you can buy. Again, that probably is for some people the ugly part, and then you can do your self-assessment, and you go through your self-assessment again and again until you feel confident. That brings me back to this decide on date and time. There's also some people who like to first study, and when they're confident enough in the material, then they put down the date and time. The other way around, some people like to have the date and time looming in the distance, and then they work towards this time. And that is also a very, very individual approach. I myself, I need to see this in my calendar, in my schedule every other week, that I say, oh, you have to learn for that. You have to learn for that. You have to learn for that. Now sit down and do it. So that's my way of doing it. But as I said, other people, other approaches, etc. Having said that, there are also free assessment tests. Get the feeling I'm referring you back to the assessment Excel sheets and so on. And I have taken the chance to put together some of the links. They're a little bit Azure heavy, but Skylines Academy, PactPub, Pluralsight, WizLabs, Udemy, they are websites that are not only Azure, but also Power Platform, also M365, etc., as well as docsmicrosoft.com /learn. Here I have the hyperlink added with /Azure, but of course there are many other areas that you can go for. And I think that's good that this is available, and plenty of that stuff is for free. Moving on, I just want to give you a chance to, I know there is recording going on, but I just wanted to give you a chance to maybe want to take a screenshot of these links, and in case you want to look them up yourself and dig through the World Wide Web to find some more. Now let's move forward to the certification test itself. and I don't know how you are feeling about it, but some people, when they hear test and certification, they are just losing it. They're just, oh my God, I'm exempt now, and wow, crazy, crazy, crazy. This is the point where this kind of meeting and this kind of preparation, I can only encourage you to stay calm. You're not going to die with it. You're going to live after that. It is all fine. You just have to make up your mind whether you want to go into the test center on the right side, which is a physical location where they have explicitly test administration and they have booked you in, they reserve a slot, and they have cubicles where you get one specific machine that is only sitting there for taking tests. The advice is be there ahead of time. If you booked a certification test for 12, definitely be there at minimum 30 minutes earlier, unless they advise you otherwise, like be there an hour earlier or 15 minutes earlier. It's just up to the center itself, but definitely ahead of time. Do not forget your ID documents. Since the test has already been booked, you already have paid, therefore you want to make sure that you have your picture IDs with you, and then follow the instruction of the staff. And there may be other test taking people in the same room, in a different cubicle, or even close to you. So please respect their privacy and the separation, and even noise. Be very quiet in there. You can, on my picture here on the top right here up there is some noise cancellation. So this test center did go even one step further and provided some noise cancellation headsets to give you a chance to just muffle away any noise around it. And no, they're not playing any music on them. It's just for shielding you from any additional distraction. Now, that's the test center, and that is a controlled environment assessed by Microsoft regularly. What to do if you come and decide to do the testing remotely? Now, prepare your testing place, which probably is your own computer. May it be a desktop PC, or maybe a laptop, may it be a pad, I don't know, but this is the part of the journey. Of course, you also check in ahead of the time, but definitely not an hour earlier. And then there's some person that will welcome you. They're called greeters, and they instruct you to do things like show me your desk. Your desk means you have to have a clean desk. No paper within reach or visibility, no books, no nothing. Clean desk, completely empty. Multiple monitors. Yeah, make sure that you're able to show them that they're unplugged. Multiple computers, multiple laptops on the screen, on the desk, not a good idea. Try to grab just one machine and separate yourself. People walking into the room, not a good idea. You want to make sure that you are completely separated. Noises, speaking, and that's a good example here with this picture. You see that this person, or maybe able to see that he has a hand in front of his mouth. So loud speaking, like reading the questions, even to yourself, is considered a no-go. You do not read those questions out loud. You do not mumble. You do not hide your mouse. You're not allowed to have a wristwatch because it could be a microphone in there. Sometimes they ask you to show your glasses. I'm wearing glasses. They ask me all the time to put them off and show them into the camera. And yes, you need a camera. Your machine needs a camera. Otherwise, you're not eligible to take the test at home. Maybe I should add this to this list. As I said, loud noises, distractions, open doors, pets running in, people speaking to you, they will interfere, and in the worst of all cases, cancel your test and say, okay, so there is a cheating attempt and you're out. So, you need to have your mobile device in reach, but not on the table, which means that you need to get up. Oh yeah, talking about getting up. You're not allowed to leave the scope of the camera. Moving away from the camera and stuff like that, not a good thing. I myself, as you may be able to see from this presentation here, I have a large screen, very large screen. And during one of my last tests, all the questions were up here in the top left quadrant. And on the lower right-hand quadrant, there's the buttons for the next, next, next. And when you have a very large monitor, the mouse traveling from there to there is quite a time. And in order to be able to hit this next, you have to look there. So at a certain point in time, they came up and said, "You're looking very much to the lower right. What are you doing?" And then I took my camera, which luckily is a detachable camera, and I showed them the big screen. I said, do you see what I need to do here? Until I learned, or the software was changed, and now you can zoom into the question, so it's not so the question area covers the whole screen here. That's quite nice then. Now, during the test, now it's all preparation. Now, during the test, there will be instructions on the screen. There's a timer. There's a timer on the top of your screen that tells you how many minutes have passed from the total minutes that you have. So be time aware, be quiet, and even if you passed, and I wish you all the best for that one, if you do that, celebrate outside or after you have taken that test, right? Don't be too excited while you're still in that test or in this certification center. When it comes to the test itself, there's still some things that you should know and what to expect during the test itself. Now, you can expect multiple choice question. Well, that was obvious, right? So this is how questions on the screen are done. So you can have radio buttons, the round things. You can have check marks, the squares things where you just tick in there. The radio buttons, of course, mean you can only answer one of them, and the check mark means you probably need more than one answers, two, maybe sometimes more. There are chances for drop downs. What do I mean with drop downs? They give you a text. It could be, if you're a developer, it could be a piece of source code. Or if you're an Azure administrator, they give you a PowerShell script. Or what they do then is in the middle of these texts, there are some drop downs. And the drop downs need to be selected to the correct value to make it a valid answer for the question that they're asking. Like you want to create a user in Azure Active Directory. This is the script. Please make sure this script runs correctly. And then the drop down say, hey, go to the right subscription. No, wait, go to the right tenant. No, wait, go give some parameters, and so on. You get my gist here. So the drop downs help you to pick from a pre-selected stuff here. Then there is also some chances for drag and drop. I mentioned this. Hey, you've got 4 steps to fulfill. Guess what? There's 2 areas on your screen that you can imagine, and on the left area is the bucket of potential answers. Could be 10 answers, right? And then they say you need to find the right 4 ones and bring them in the right order. Is it always 4? Depends on the question. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. It really is depending on the question. But then they ask you from the amount of answers on the left side, just drag them over to the right side and bring them into the right order. Microsoft structured the certification test into blocks. Each block is sealed, and once you finish the block, they will tell you, hey, this is the last question of this block. Are you sure you want to move on in your test, because you cannot go back to that block? It's very mean, because sometimes they feed you with some additional information that you could use to answer a question, like, it's this way, and now I know the answer of that one, and you cannot go back. Yeah, potluck here. I guess that is on purpose. What we also have is scenario-based question. What is a scenario? They give you a customer setting, like, hey, this is Contoso. Contoso is selling insurances, and they have the IT, and they just moved to the cloud, and they're doing this now, and then they have this issue, and so on. So you're giving you a whole customer story with all the bells and whistles and everything, and you need to read and read and read and read and until you understand this one customer. And then the next step is they're asking you questions about this customer. They want to achieve this. Should they do this or should they do that? So this is the question quality of scenario questions. And then we have this performance-based testing. That probably answers the question of Harold previously. performance-based testing. That was I couldn't remember the word performance, so sorry for that. But luckily, I did write it down. And performance-based testing is what I spoke about before. A virtual machine is started for you, a client PC. They give you some credentials to log in. Sometimes you're auto-logged in, and they give you credentials for ABC portal. And then you are with this user context, you're doing stuff inside that virtual machine. But as I said, for the time being, the performance-based testing is on hold. I do not expect you to have a test with that. If you go tomorrow or the day after into any of the certifications. Okay, moving forward is this answer efficiently. Answer efficiently is a proven way that I have identified over a long time. I have myself taken 50 plus certification tests, and other people have taken 70 and more certification tests. I'm just one of the many that taken a lot. And I've assessed this approach with many of them. So just bear with me for the last 5 minutes before we go into the Q&A. So imagine you have your screen. On your screen, you have your test information. Hey, this is your test, and you're on number X of what number of questions you ever have. And the time and the additional controls and stuff like that. So this is your basic screen. On that screen, you get multiple areas like I mentioned before, the scenario information, and they have some tabs here on the left, or however they structure it, but they give you a way to read about the customer. Contoso, selling insurances, you remember. And then they have another area on the screen where they give you some additional information before it comes to the actual question itself. Sometimes this area is multiple paragraphs, like, hey, they did set up 7 servers, and 2 of the servers are behaving this way, and then they ask you the actual question. And my small example, it would be, what do you do with these 2 servers? And then you have the answers that are offered for you. And my approach is, and my suggestion for you to try it is, when you get the full question, read the answers first. Read the answers first means that you're focusing on what is possible. Why do I say that? The reason is, if I go through the scenario, get my understanding of the customer, I read through the questions, or the additional information, additional text, and then I read the question. And in my mind, I'm settling. Oh yeah, I know exactly what it is. Oh yeah, I know exactly what it is. And then, wait a moment, my solution that I have in my mind is not among the answers that they're giving me. So I'm going back and reading it again and stuff like that. So that's the reason why I suggest that you read the possible answers first, that you focus on what is possible. Now, next step would be, now that you know the answers, read the question. What the heck do they want to know from you? Sometimes it is so easy, so obvious, that with these 2 steps, answers, questions, you're able to answer, because you know your material, you prepared very well, and you say, of course it is, configure this check mark to make this XYZ feature available or disable or whatever. And this is the reason why I say, do your preparation, do your practice, because you know the screens, and then you can more easily answer these low-hanging fruits here. Now, there may be chances that reading the answers and reading the question is not helping, because you still don't know what is the correct of the answers. Now, then you add the additional information out of the text before the question, and try to read through that and go through the question again, read the answers again, and maybe you're able to answer right then and there. If you're still not there, then you go to the context. Then you go to the scenario and go through all of the tabs and everything like that. But this time, you're on the hunt. You are now searching explicitly for the context of these answers. And by this time, I mean you have at least twice or maybe even 3 times read the answers, and now you're searching explicitly for this piece of information in the whole smoke screen of many pages of text. If the answer would be something like, hey, I want to configure security X, Y, Z, then you search for any context that goes around security because you're focusing on this topic, on this area itself. So do it reverse, do the answers first, question then, and then dig into the details. And if you're able to answer with step 1 and 2, you also saved a lot of time. And time is crucial. Time is definitely crucial, of course, depending on your personal approach and stuff like that. But still, be time aware. Time is crucial. And if it comes to you getting to the last minute, you have got 5 minutes and you still have got 10 questions to do, don't panic. Don't panic. If you're really rushing through the last ones and just like in a pump gun, just shoot wildly, you have no time to go into all the detail understanding question. Just blindly click something. If you're on the last minute and still 3 or 4 questions to answer, just tick something to make sure you have answered at all, and statistics give you a chance to have a lucky punch with one of them. Okay, so don't panic. Just make sure you answer all of the questions. Having said that, I wish you all the best and good luck for your next certification test. And now I'm open for Q&A, and I will stop the presentation. And thank you for listening to me this morning. If you want to listen more, just find me, the Cloud42, find me on LinkedIn. Together with my wife, we're running our own company. Good, back to Q&A, and back to you. Any questions? Is anybody still listening? Anybody out there? Come off mute. You do not need to type. I see in the chat, Jim. Thank you, Jim, for that lovely comment. Anybody's taking an exam test in the near future? Janice is happy. Thank you, Janice, for that feedback. Anybody taking a test in the near future wants to dig into some more details? PL100 application maker, best luck for that. I have not tried that myself, but I definitely would need to learn a lot about the Power Platform. I have the fundamentals test, and that already scared me as an infrastructure person. Like, wow! That's Nico's, no question. Really good. Thank you for that, Nico. I've set AZ900 recently. This covered a lot of my experience on it. So you, Nikos, you're saying you can confirm that is what I said is true and stuff like that. AZ14, 1500, booked for May and June. What was the link for the Excel questions? Just give me, okay, Nikos, thank you. Let's give me a separate browser window for that. Just a moment, I will pop up the browser window with the certification test. And that would be just 2 things. I will just a moment with the links. Give me a chance to find that. And I have something else on that one. Let's build 5 nines. That is the other one. Where are my assessment sheets? You on GitHub. Just a second. Oh, okay. I have, especially for this course, for this certification Saturday, taken the chance to do some assessment sheets, especially for the Power Platform. And just let me give you the message here. Control V, shoot. So that's the link to the Power Platform, especially for the certification Saturday. And the build 5 nines, I will add this in a moment. Once I have that, where are they? Where are they? Certification, self-assessment tools. Hiding a little bit. And the build 5 nines. Here we go. I have one question here from Neil. What's the logic behind MS exam numbering? E.g., 900 is often fundamental. Some series go 100, 200, 300, 400, and some go 201, 203. Great question. Thank you, Neil. So the basic principle is that we have, let me pull up some page. The 900s and 901, 902, they're always the fundamentals. They're the basic knowledge. They are not like you start with 100 and then 200 is the next more complicated and so on. And the higher the number, the more complicated. That is not the fact. MSNS train cert poster. I hope that is the right link here. Yep. Okay. Let me feed you with one more link, and then I will pop it onto the main screen here. So what we have here, that is the also known as Microsoft Train Cert Poster. And the Train Cert Poster gives you an overview of the technology areas that Microsoft has, from Azure through M365, D365 to the Power Platform. And at the bottom of this poster, we have the fundamentals, and you see the 900, 900, 900s, 901, 910. So everything with a 9x is considered a fundamental. Now, if you see the additional numbers in the 9x, there are slight deviations in the ERP thing or the CRM, so the 10 and the 20, and just slight deviations. But 911 or the 921, if they would ever come up, would be an iteration, a new version of that one. Like we have it here with the Dynamics 365. There was an MB900, and now the MB900 isn't there anymore. 901 has taken its place, so that is just an update number in between. When it comes to the 100s, 200s, 300s, it's a little bit more topic areas. It starts with AZ for Azure, MS for the Microsoft itself, and MD for modern desktop. Then we have some PLs as well as MBs still in here. So there's quite a mixture of using these prefixes in the Dynamics and Power Platform area. The numbers, 200, 300, 500, are knowledge areas. Knowledge areas in that pillar. For example, you have the PL 200s. So everything around 200 is all about sales and marketing, because that's part of the sales pillar here. As well as the field service is also 240. They're grouping it together, all the functional consultant associate level in here. For Azure, it's a little bit easier. All with 100 is about the infrastructure, 500 is security, the 600 latest kit on the block is the Azure Stack Hub, and then we have the data platform, and they again start with 100 for the associate. The DevOps expert is a 400. So the numbers in there, they're not telling you anything about the complexity level, right? They are just areas where they group things together, and then you have iterations. Like the 303 and 304, they have gone through many iterations, 300, 301, 302, they were all there, they're all gone. Okay, so I hope that answers the questions with the numbering. Nikos, is it possible for us to get this recording? As far as I know, yes, this session today has been recorded and will be available through Julian, who is just coming up and taking over. You'd have to come off mute, and I stop sharing to give Julian the stage.
Yes, the recording, I'll come to answer that question. Yes, we have been recording. The recording sessions will be available. I'm not sure when though. Hopefully I'll get a YouTube channel and upload them to there.
Yeah, I still present here the self-assessment for Power Platform and Dynamics. Please let me know if there's some update needed. This is the self-assessment Excel sheets in the background. I may need to put some work into that to just get some more in there and so on.
Yeah, I mean there are some changes coming. There's changes every 2 or 3 months, as you know, to the OD.
Yeah. So let me know if there's
a new one, PL 600.
Yeah. And since that is not my area, the PL, we may work together on that one. I show you.
Yeah, okay, I do that. I'm actually that's my sort of focus at the moment. The PL 600. I took that yesterday.
Hey, and of course you passed.
Well, it's a beta, so I don't know yet. I'm going to start recording.
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for having me again, Julian.
Thank you for it's a really useful